I'd like to call this meeting to order. The Township of Blackburn-Masson acknowledges the Apatippi and Assiniboine Nation traditional territory. We live, play, and work here together, and together we shall build a strong and inclusive community. A reminder to all in attendance that council meetings are recorded and made available to the public on the Township website for review. Now we do confirmation of agenda. Be it resolved that council adopt the agenda of the special meeting of September 5th, 2024. Be it resolved that council temporarily suspends section 432 of the procedural bylaw, specifically regarding the requirement to provide 48 hours notice to the public for the special meeting scheduled on September 5th, 2024 only. All in favor? No. Approved.
Your worship, do you mind if I just interrupt for a second? I just need a formal mover and seconder for each of those resolutions.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Guidry, seconded by Councillor Charbonneau.
Thank you very much. And then we need to do the same thing for the second resolution, which is to temporarily suspend section 4.3.2.
Okay. I'll introduce, this is Mr. McKittrick from Cunningham Swan. He's our clerk for tonight, just for everybody's awareness. Be it resolved that council temporarily suspends section 432 of the procedural bylaw, specifically regarding the requirement to provide 40 hours notice to the public for the special meeting scheduled on September 5th, 2024 only. If I get a move and a seconder. Councillor Guidry. Councillor Allen. All in favor? Approved. We have no or any disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. I see none. We have no adoption of minutes, no delegations, and we have new business. It is the transition letter from the minister appointee. The resolution is, be it resolved that council receive the transition letter dated August 30th, 2024 from the minister appointee. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Charbonneau and seconded by Councillor Campbell. Do I need to approve that?
Yes.
All in favor? Approved. Now, I guess I will introduce our minister appointee, Kathy Horgan, who's going to review her letter sent to us. And I'll give the floor to you, Kathy.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. Thank you for allowing me time on your agenda to discuss with you the transition letter. It's pretty self-explanatory. It was sent to all of council on August 30th. The intent of the letter is to provide you with an overview of some of the matters that I dealt with during my tenure as the appointee to council between April 29th and August 27th. So again, as you know, I was appointed as the appointee by the minister and dealt with, I had all of the authority that council had to make decisions and to deal with all matters that council would normally deal with. So while some of the information, is recorded in the minutes, is on agendas and in minutes, I wanted to bring your attention to, like I said, to a few of the matters that I had dealt with and that I felt were more of the important decisions that were made during my tenure. I also was responsible for preparing twice monthly reports to the minister on the actions and activities that happened leading up to those reports. So those, I've shared a link to those reports if you haven't already seen them. The link is there in the letter, and they do provide a little bit more information about certain matters, other matters that were either dealt with or that occurred during that time. So I encourage you to, excuse me, to have a look at those as well. So I just want to draw your attention to the 2024 budget. As you know, I dealt with the water and sewer and garbage collection budgets. I had approved by resolution an increase to the water and sewer fees, each by 3.9%. And there was no increase, I approved the budget for the garbage collection services with a 0% increase in the fees. The the water and sewer increases were primarily as a result of inflation, increase to contractor fees, capital requirements, and transfer to reserves for the near future capital needs. And those are identified in the budgetary documents that you can find on in the agendas and on the municipality's website. So, and then I later adopted, more as a procedural matter, adopted the levying bylaws. That was done later in July. The operating budget, the operating and capital budget, as you know, was not adopted before my tenure was over and before I became subject to restricted acts. I did hold a couple of meetings with staff where we did discuss the budget, and they brought forward a proposed budget. I had requested additional information once adopted, by resolution 2024-31, and the letter, transition letter, includes the information that I had asked for to be included in future updates to the budget. The second time I had an opportunity to look at the budget, again, we discussed certain things. A new report was provided. We discussed that new information, and based on those discussions, I provided further direction to staff to report back with another written report incorporating information presented on the operating capital budgets to date. So incorporating the two reports that were previously provided, as well as all of the information that I had requested in resolution 24-31 that had not yet been provided. Primarily what I was looking for was a breakdown, additional financial information, and a breakdown of the budget figures broken down by subcategory or service or by functional class. So rather than providing me or council with one total for things like transportation services, I was looking for a breakdown by the departments that fall within transportation services. So things like water, or not water, but snow plowing, ditching, things like that. So that that request was provided. Unfortunately, we didn't get an opportunity to finish our discussions on the budget. So that is now relayed or transferred over to this incoming council. Following my meeting with staff on July 25th, in order to help them better understand what it was I was looking for in terms of a breakdown, I had provided some samples, sample budget reports that other municipalities have provided, and those are listed there, and the links are provided to you in the transition letter for you to have a look at and consider how you might want the budget presented to you in the future. The other matter that was brought to my attention, before I do that. So the transition letter also encourages the council to make the budget top priority. There are statutory requirements under the Municipal Act in terms of tax bill due dates. So you will want staff to provide you with a work back plan. So what's the last deadline that you would want tax bills issued and due, and then work that back to provide you with some possible dates for future meetings. So that I think is would be very useful information for you to determine, or to prioritize, to help you prioritize the budget and your discussions going forward. So then on the calcium program, the next item on my list, I had considered a recommendation from the Director of Infrastructure Services to approve a 4-year phased-in approach. The recommendation had included a procurement for 2024 of calcium in the amount of $545,000. Although I felt that the application of the calcium is an important component of maintenance of gravel roads, I think we can all agree on that. I determined that this significant change in service levels and program methodology was best made by the incoming council. So I had deferred. I did not approve that request, and I deferred the decision. I had also at that time directed the director to report back at a future meeting, or at the June 25th meeting, with an interim plan for applying calcium and water to the gravel roads for 2020 at the same levels as 2023, so that we'd maintain the same service level. The calcium was to have been included in the 2024 operating levy budget. So that was at the same levels as 2024. So no increase in levels were provided for that. I had approved the appointment of a chief building official and deputy chief building official, continuing on with the previous council's goal of appointing Mr. Lefebvre as the CBO and bylaw enforcement officer after he became eligible to take on the role of CBO. So he had qualified to become to take over some of the responsibilities as CBO. So I had appointed him as the CBO, along with Mr. Ken Andrus as a deputy CBO. So in November, Mr. Lefebvre was successful in completing the legal exam. This required this qualification allowed him to be appointed as the CBO. He can now enforce the building code and has authority to implement a procedure respecting an intern inspector. So including supervisory services of the CBO from a qualified person, which who we had appointed as deputy. So the program and the 2 appointments enable the township to issue building permits and to provide building inspections for new construction and renovation under the supervision and the guidance of that deputy CBO. So as he works through, or as the CBO works through the remainder of the qualification exams, he will he'll be supervised by that deputy. And with the appointments, again, this was the next step in implementing former council's plan to transition to in-house building services that would have an intended long-term goal of reducing costs and increasing efficiencies compared to the current contracting by another municipality. The labor dispute had been settled. Workers returned, as you know, on June 3rd, so not much to indicate there. Integrity Commissioner reports. I had received and made public 3 Integrity Commissioner investigation reports pertaining to council code of conduct complaints filed against former council members. These reports, as you know, they were deferred to the new council, and the intent is that the new council will invite the Integrity Commissioner in to review his report and present that report to council, and then council will make a determination as to how they will proceed with any recommendations that the IC had made in those reports. On July 31st, I had received a letter from the Integrity Commissioner advising that as of nomination day, which was the day, which was June 28th, he had terminated all other ongoing inquiries into the conduct of the former members. And this is done in accordance with the Municipal Act. And at the time, the Integrity Commissioner had 5 requests for inquiry under the Code of Conduct. So in accordance with the Municipal Act, complainants will have 6 weeks from voting day to request the Integrity Commissioner to recommence any investigation complaints filed prior to nomination day. So the Integrity Commissioner will be advising council, this new council, if any such requests have been made. So that will, you can reach out to the Integrity Commissioner if you want to find that out, but he should be reaching out to you shortly. I dealt with an issue in relation to the dechlorination at the Matheson wastewater treatment plant. So I had approved an expenditure of $41,000 approximately to purchase a portable structure or a CCAN that will facilitate year-round dechlorination at the Matheson wastewater treatment plant. So this purchase was necessary to ensure compliance with the Environmental Compliance Approval Directive from the Ministry of the Environment, Conservation and Parks. So the report from the Director of Infrastructure Services does report that the chlorination and dechlorination processes in the wastewater treatment during winter months had posed a significant challenge without a heated facility. So I felt that the CCAN was definitely an urgent purchase, and I approved that on July 22nd. The funding for that CCAN will be provided, is already funded through the 2024 budget. And what will happen is the amount of reserves that had been originally budgeted, included in the budget, will be reduced by this amount. So it's no additional expenditure on the budget, or no additional impact, I would say, on the budget. With respect to the administrative monetary penalty system, I had a request from staff to approve an amendment to the existing system, and I had chosen to defer that to the new council. The program is already in existence. And I felt that any amendments should be considered by the new council and adopted later on. So that, again, is likely something that the new staff, or that staff, will be bringing forward to the new council. The other note in here is I had requested a closed session to discuss various confidential matters in relation to workplace anti-violence, bullying and harassment policy, and as well as applications made under the Ontario Labor Relations Board. So that I can't speak about in open session. So that is pretty much a quick rundown of the transition letter that I had submitted to council.
Thank you, Ms. Horgan. I'll open the floor up to council. If you have any questions, you okay to take a few questions?
Sure.
I'll open the floor if anybody has any questions.
Okay, through your worship to Kathy. For the calcium, I was just curious, what was put on the roads? Was that approved or just part of the normal year to year?
You're talking about the calcium that was applied this year?
Yeah.
Yes. So staff, as part of maintenance day-to-day operations, staff have the authority. They worked within the budget that the allocation that was there last year. And they worked within procurement policies and the delegation of authority policy in order to ensure that the calcium was applied this year in the absence of the budget being adopted. So they followed the same process that was followed last year.
Good, thank you.
Any other questions? No? Thank you very much. Moving along, we have no notice of motions, no reports, no bylaws, no unfinished business, no other business. So it brings us to the portion of the meeting, closed session. And be it resolved that council now comes into the portion of the meeting that shall be closed to the public at 6:50 PM. In accordance with section 239(2)(e) of the Municipal Act 2001. To discuss litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. Specifically, the Ontario Labor Board filings under section 50 of the Occupational Health and Safety Act. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Bouchard and Councillor Gattard.